Hello, and welcome to Mailin It, the official podcast of the United States Postal Service. I'm Karla Kirby.
And I'm Jonathan Castillo. Hard to believe, but we're already talking about the end-of-year holiday season. That means the Postal Service is gearing up for our busiest time of year, when we handle billions of additional mail pieces and packages in just over 2 months.
Don't worry, though. We're ready for it. We've got a new holiday campaign and new stamps, not to mention exciting changes to programs like Operation Santa. Here to tell us all about the Postal Service's readiness for the 2024 holidays is Sheila Holman, our VP of Marketing. Sheila's also going to give us some tips for making sure your mail gets where it's going in time for this year's celebrations. Welcome back to the podcast, Sheila.
Hello, and thanks for having me back. I always look forward to this opportunity to talk about our holiday activities.
Sheila, I'm always impressed with the creative campaigns the team comes up with for the holidays. And, from what I understand, you and your team oversee, amongst other things, brand marketing, customer insights, market strategy, and stamp services. So tell me, what can we expect this holiday season?
We are kicking off the season with our traditional holiday ad campaign. This year's campaign is called Holiday Ride, and it's really a continuation of telling that transformation story for the Postal Service. Because, the holidays are the time of year when USPS is top of mind because so many people are shipping and mailing. And one of the stars of this year's campaign is Ground Advantage, our recently introduced ground shipping product.
Last year's Built for the Holidays campaign featured an animated cityscape made out of USPS products and packaging. What can you tell us about the look and feel of the Holiday Ride campaign?
Sure. The story of the campaign is told through the eyes of a child, and it uses a Ground Advantage box as a portal into the Postal Service's pre-holiday activities, or the portal of seeing your package going on its holiday ride to delivery. And then it ends with the package actually being delivered in real life to that same child. And so you see all of the inner workings of what happens behind the scenes in the USPS world. For example, you'll see the retail clerks receiving packages from our customers. You'll see the mail processing clerks and the mail handlers sorting holiday packages. And you'll see the Postal Service automation working through our network and seeing the package move through that network and also being delivered via our next generation delivery vehicles. So this year's campaign, while it's not animated, it does include a number of CGI elements to transition between the scenes.
I think it's such a great idea to show how the entire postal network works in harmony to get people's letters, cards, and packages where they need to go on time. Of course, our people do that all year long, so why does the Postal Service do a special holiday marketing campaign around this time of year every year?
It's a time of year when the Postal Service is really top of mind because people are mailing and shipping a lot. And it's also a time of year when our shipping business customers are also consumers. And we want to continue to reinforce that message to those customers that the Postal Service is changing, we're making improvements to our network, and we are increasing our service reliability.
Normally, people can find the Postal Service's holiday campaign on TV and through social media. Are there any changes to that for this year?
Not too many significant changes. The campaign will continue. It'll air on TV, it'll be on radio and print, and then you'll also see it online, on digital placements, and in your social feed.
One of my favorite parts of our holiday campaigns, and I think for many of our listeners as well, are the stamps that the Postal Service issues around this time of year. Last holiday season, we had the Winter Wonderland Animal Series, as well as one with snow globes, if I'm not mistaken. Can you tell us what's in store for us this year?
Sure. This year, we have 4 different sets of stamps for the holiday season. We have a Christmas stamp, which is Madonna and Child, and then we also have our Holiday Joy stamps. The Madonna and Child features a 17th century Italian artist, and the Holiday Joy is inspired by Mexican folk art and depicts ornaments and a poinsettia and a snowflake and other holiday elements. We've also introduced a Hanukkah stamp as well as a stamp celebrating Kwanzaa.
Sheila, you mentioned the holiday marketing campaign takes us behind the scenes a little bit to see how letters and packages make their way through our postal network. Well, as part of our 10-year Delivering for America plan, there have been some really big changes to our network over the past few years, and they're aimed at improving service. What impact are those changes having on our ability to handle the extra holiday volume?
So, as part of our Postmaster General's Delivering for America plan, we are making a lot of changes. First of all, we're investing significantly to optimize our facilities, to streamline operations, to modernize our information technology systems, and to improve our transportation logistics. And we've also been able to reduce costs. In the first quarter of fiscal year 2024 alone, we achieved a savings of nearly $500 million in reduced transportation expenses. So by making these investments to make our network more efficient and reliable, we're able to pull a lot of costs out of the systems through things like reducing extra trips and cutting underutilized expenses and facilities.
So, Sheila, while we're talking about all of the work that goes into preparing for the holidays, what are some of the deadlines our customers should be aware of to make sure their cards and packages arrive at their destinations on time?
Sure. So just a plug, we have our holiday mailer that goes to every home, and this communicates all of our shipping dates as well as features images of our holiday stamps and some of our licensed holiday products that you can buy at the postal store at USPS.com. But as far as the shipping dates go, so December 18th is the deadline for Ground Advantage and first class mail. And it's a couple days earlier, December 16th, for items that are being sent to Alaska or Hawaii. December 19th is the shipping deadline for Priority Mail. And December 21st is the deadline for Priority Mail Express. Again, December 20th for items being sent to Alaska or Hawaii. And then for those who may be shipping based on military, fleet, or diplomatic posts, those all have different deadlines, which you can find on our website. And as always, if you're a planner, the earlier you can put your cards and packages in the mail, the better.
This year, some of the holiday season overlapped with another big event for the Postal Service, the 2024 elections. Can you tell us a little bit about how that impacted our holiday preparations?
In total, election mail actually accounts for only a very small increase in our overall mail volume. For example, in 2020, during the last presidential election, ballots accounted for just 0.11% of the Postal Service's total mail volume. So it is a small percentage of our total volume. But in terms of reliability and delivery, that year the Postal Service delivered 99.89% of ballots from voters to election officials within 7 days. And in the 2022 midterm elections, we saw a similar level of on-time performance at 99.93% of ballots delivered within that time frame.
We should also mention some of the Postal Service's other holiday priorities. We can start with Operation Santa, which the Postal Service launched in 1912 to help children in need during the holidays. Kids can write a letter to Santa with holiday wishes, and volunteers can go to USPSOperationSanta.com to choose one or more letters to respond to. I hear there's a new feature that makes volunteering for Operation Santa easier than ever. Sheila, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So as you said, Operation Santa is our program that allows people to adopt letters written by children and fulfill their holiday wishes. So we're going to open up the opportunity for adoption on November 18th. And this year, what's new is that in addition to people having the ability to just go out and shop themselves and ship their gifts to that child for the letter that they adopted, this year we're actually making it even easier. We're hosting a Santa's gift shop online right in the Operation Santa website that is basically an e-commerce shop. It's powered by a new collaboration with Toys R Us. And so through this collaboration, the letter adopters can now just easily select and purchase mini gifts from that have been specially curated for the site. So you can do it all right there when you're online adopting the letter. You can go right to the online gift shop and fulfill the child's requests right through there and have everything shipped directly. And on the site, you'll find things like toys and playthings. And we're hopeful that this will be a great addition and that next year we'd like to include and expand the categories to things like clothing, shoes, books, and other items. The other new news is that we've added the option for adopters to send gifts using Ground Advantage. And again, that is our new ground product that is highly affordable, highly reliable, and expected delivery times range between 2 days and 5 days, depending on how far the package is traveling. And the last thing I want to mention is that this year, our Operation Santa program will be highlighted in a new season of our original docuseries, Dear Santa. And this is a story about the real kids who put their letters up for adoption, the real people who adopt them, and the real postal workers who help fulfill those adoptions. And this year, the season is going to premiere on ABC local stations on Sunday, November 24th, and it'll be streaming live on Hulu starting on November 29th. So for those who are looking for some feel-good holiday viewing that's appropriate for the whole family, this is a great series to check out.
I actually had a chance to watch both the original 2020 Dear Santa movie and the first season of the miniseries. And I gotta say, like you said, some of these stories are really just, they hit home, the spirit of the holidays, the generosity of people across our great country. It's heartwarming. And it really sounds like it's going to be a phenomenal end to the year, especially as we get ready for another big milestone, the Postal Service's 250th anniversary in 2025. Sheila, before we let you go, I have one last question for you that we always get around this time of year. Where can families send their letters to participate in USPS Operation Santa?
It's very easy. So to participate, all the child has to do is write a letter to Santa, his official workshop, and the address is Santa Claus, 123 Elf Road, North Pole, 88888. Again, that's 123 Elf Road, North Pole, 88888. And the letter just needs to be mailed in a stamped envelope that has a return address so that someone can respond. And also all letters that need to be sent to Santa and postmarked by December 9th.
So Sheila, for the information you provided for Operation Santa, is it also available on the Postal Service's website?
All of the information about the program is available on the website USPSOperationSanta.com.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Sheila. It is always a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Take care.
We'll wind down this episode with another installment of Did You Know, when Jonathan and I each share interesting U.S. Postal Service facts. I'll kick things off this time. Jonathan, did you know that up until 1950, the Postal Service used to deliver mail to homes and businesses several times a day?
Given how hard our carriers are already working, that seems hard to imagine.
Good point. But remember, there was a time before people could obsessively check email and social media. Back then, the postal network was in serious demand as a way for people to communicate. In 1873, the Postal Laws and Regulations book stated that carriers would make deliveries as frequently as the public convenience may require. Because the rule didn't specify a particular number of deliveries to meet those criteria, it was up to local postmasters to use their own judgment. In some locations, businesses might get 4 or 5 deliveries a day, while local residents would see their mail carrier 2 or 3 times a day. By 1922, Businesses in larger cities like Brooklyn and Philadelphia could get as many as 7 daily deliveries. All the while, mail volume skyrocketed, especially after World War II. More than 86,000 full-time city delivery carriers were working to meet the demand across the country. And they were supplemented by tens of thousands of substitute city carriers to help when the volume got too large. As you might imagine, this wasn't really sustainable in the long run. In April of 1950, the Postmaster General ordered residential deliveries in all areas down to a single trip per day. Businesses continued to get multiple deliveries per day, but eventually even those were whittled down to once daily. What have you got, Jonathan?
In keeping with your theme of postal practices from a bygone era, did you know that from 1911 to 1967, there was a U.S. postal savings system that let people deposit money at their local post office?
Do you mean the Postal Service acted as a bank?
It did. In 1910, a law was passed offering low-income Americans alternatives to conventional banks for depositing their money at a comparatively low rate of interest. A scare in the banking system a few years earlier had caused lots of people to lose confidence in banks. The Postal Savings Act created a board of trustees that included the Postmaster General, the Treasury Secretary, and the Attorney General to supervise postal savings accounts. Those accounts were available to anyone over the age of 10, and the initial minimum to start an account was $1.
What did people think about banking at their post office?
After a slow start, by 1929, $153 million was on deposit. That amount peaked in 1947 at about $3.4 billion. At one point, the Postal Savings System was the largest bank in America. Eventually, commercial banks began to raise their interest rates and offer the same account protection as the Postal Savings System. Deposits slowed in the early 1960s until by 1966, the Post Office Department stopped accepting deposits to existing accounts. The Postal Savings System was disbanded the following year. And that's all for this edition of Did You Know? I love having Sheila on this time of year, Karla. She always has great behind-the-scenes information on everything the Postal Service does for the holidays. You know, what that team puts together, the holiday ad campaigns, the stamps, USPS Operation Santa, and now the collaboration with Toys R Us, it's really remarkable. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see the new season of Dear Santa this November on Hulu and ABC Localish.
Agreed, Jonathan. I always love that Sheila comes and shares this information about the holiday campaign every year. For me, I particularly am looking for the stamps, but I'm also going to check out the Dear Santa series, and I'm definitely going to encourage folks that I know to participate in Operation Santa. It sounds like a very worthwhile and worthy cause. That's all for this episode of Mailin It. Don't forget to subscribe to Mailin It wherever you get your podcast to make sure you don't miss any episodes. And follow along on Instagram at US Postal Service, X formerly known as Twitter at USPS, and on Facebook.